and welcome to Stretford Paddock. My name is Joe. I'm here with Jay and Alex, and we've just seen Man United win by 3 goals again against Aston Villa. We said it's the best since Fergie. Is this the best United have looked in the post-Ferguson era?
Yes. Now, people might say, well, we got a lot more points on the Jose, we won trophies or whatever, and we might not end up winning trophies this season, we don't know. But it's certainly the most entertaining. You feel the confidence there. Even when we were winning trophies under Jose, the football wasn't great and our league form was poor. When we got to second, again, we ground out a lot of results. It weren't like we were blowing teams away. But this is different. It's just a real positive vibe. Attacking from all angles. Happy days.
And Alex, as we've seen, we were talking about in the watch along, there was some slight confusion, but the stat, I believe, is this is the first time that any team in the Premier League era has won 4 games in a row by 3 goals or more. How incredible is that? From where we were against Burnley, 2-0 at the start of the year.
Well, considering City have been the best team ever and Liverpool have been the best team ever, I'm surprised they haven't ever done that stat.
Imagine being the best team ever and not having that stat.
But we're pretty shit, aren't we? And we're doing it.
We're doing it.
Mate,
make it look
how
easy.
good. I said that's the best. That front 5 at the minute is the best in the world.
Yeah.
On form.
Right, do you know what? At the minute,
on form, that is the best front 5 in the world.
Man for man, they're better than any of the front 5, but they are performing the best out of anyone. And we are, 17 games unbeaten, which is the best since Ferguson. I don't even know if we've gone another era, another year. I think it was 2011 was the 16 games unbeaten. It's just quite incredible at the moment, isn't it?
I think you could say it's the best front 5 in the world.
What, man for man anyway?
Yeah, why not?
Do you know something? Here's something else. I want to bring this up, actually. I'll go into this camera because I want to bring this up.
Why not?
I was saying, before the break, or during the break, that our midfield is the second best in the league, and maybe the best in the league, and if not the best in the league, the second best in Europe. And everyone, even including Stephen Howson, said to me, you're an idiot.
I never
this
said
midfield
that.
isn't that.
I never said
Everyone
that. So
said,
you're lying. You're
well,
telling
maybe
lies
you didn't.
about me.
Maybe you didn't,
So
but a lot of people said to me that this midfield, it's all right, with Bruno and Pogba and Matic was the midfield I was talking about. It has proven itself once again tonight. The first half we'll get into, it wasn't the best first half, but it's proven ourselves once again tonight to be the best midfield currently in the league.
It's not even about
currently anywhere.
You're talking about the front 5, right? The reason I think that is, who's going to win the Champions League this season? Who's going to win it? No, this season. Who's going to
could be
Bayern.
one of Madrid, City.
Would you put our front 5 against those teams? I would.
Yeah.
I would. And they're probably going to be crowned European champions. And I would say our front 5. The reason we're not in the title race or whatever is we had an awful start to the season. We had for a little spell, we had a ropey defence. But in terms of looking at it now, Mason Greenwood, Anthony Martial, Marcus Rashford, Bruno, and Paul Pogba, they're all world class.
And you mentioned there, Jay, we'll come on to the goals in a minute. You mentioned the defence there, and that's something that has been in question since the start of Project Restart. What did you think to United getting another clean sheet tonight?
It was good. We didn't really threaten us at all. Really, we just controlled the game, and this is how City kind of did well. Have done well under their time. They've questions over their defence, but what they did to keep clean sheets was they just didn't give the other team the ball, and that's what we're doing a lot more now. We're just beating teams because we're just playing better football than not getting the ball. Therefore, they're not getting as many chances. What was happening before was, yes, you've got a slightly edgy defence, but you were inviting pressure on. United aren't doing that at the minute. We're attacking them. They can't deal with it.
And it's so nice as well, for once, before we saw the stats at the start of the season, I keep talking about this, where United, it was the case where if we had more than 50% of the possession, we didn't win games. Because we played high up, we weren't good in the turnovers, and it meant that we conceded goals in bad areas. But now, United can keep 65, 70% possession, and we don't concede a lot of chances. We keep the ball so much better with our current midfield than we did before. Let's move on to the first goal then. Speaking of the midfield, obviously Bruno Fernandes has been ubiquitous in United's goals since the start of his tenure at Manchester United. Involved in 8 goals, 6 assists in his time Old Trafford, and again, he was fouled for the penalty. He stuck in the penalty. What did you think to that decision? It was a bit of a controversial one, wasn't it?
We were sort of debating it, weren't we, at the time on the watch along. For me, I thought it was a penalty. I know people saying, "Oh, it was soft," or he sort of went into the player rather than the player going into him. But I think he's turned, and I think the player's got nowhere near the ball. And for me, it's clumsy, and it's a penalty.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's weird because just before lockdown, I think Marcus was taking penalties, and everyone was relatively happy with that. Bruno's come in now. I know Marcus took a penalty the other week, but he's the
26, which is an exceptional return for Bruno Fernandes. A phone is being slid to me as we have conducted a poll on social media asking you at home whether you think that this is the best Manchester United since Ferguson, and a resounding 96% of you have said yes. And I want to get into that with you, Jay, actually.
He also said Marshall's man of the match.
Because we were talking
Shut
before, and we'll get
up.
onto that.
You
We've
have
got
got
Marshall
Marshall.
conspiracy theories going on in the background. We'll talk a little bit about this. We've spoken in the week about the style of play under Mourinho, sorry, and the style of play under Van Gaal. Now, yes, we won the Europa League, we won the FA Cup, we won the Charity Shield, which is
No.
Doesn't count.
Oh, is that not a big trophy? Okay, sorry.
No.
If you
But-
count the charity shield, you got issues.
But why is this the best team we've seen since Fergie, despite us not winning anything under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer so far?
Because the other successful teams we've had post Fergie in terms of winning trophies have been very functional, have been very, we'll do what we can to get this result. Look at, like, let's say the most successful technically season we've had post Fergie is first one under Jose, where we won 2 trophies because I don't count the Charity Shield. Now you look at the Europa League and the League Cup.
What the audacity of Jose Mourinho to say we won a treble
No, it's
at
not
Manchester
even,
United?
It's not even that. It could have been worse. He could have released a video with all the players, calling it the Formidables, and
sorry,
put that on.
Oh, yeah. I remember
Posters
that, yeah.
everywhere, like a proper sad
Yeah, we
two-bit
could have
club,
done that.
no matter what you win. Anyway, you look at that. Jose more or less gave up on the league in January and focused on the Europa League.
Which-
He did. Yeah, he was like, listen, it's all on the Europa League. And we rode our luck a lot in that competition, especially against Celta Vigo, where we very nearly went out in the last minute.
Yeah.
Yes, it was great. We completed the set and the emotions of everything of Stockholm was fantastic. But you can't look at that season and go, we were blowing teams away, the football was great, we had loads of heroes. Other than Zlatan,
No.
there was no real sort of play you all
There
rallied
was no
around.
talisman. There was no. It was
wasn't.
Zlatan,
It
wasn't
was just Zlatan, really.
Yeah, and it was as well something Jose does in sides he's successful in. He makes himself a hero.
Yeah.
And it was a Jose Zlatan kind of
It was only
duo that won us those trophies. And under Van Gaal, obviously, won the FA Cup. Do you think that this side is more exciting to watch, better to watch than that Van Gaal team?
I think it is, definitely.
Mate.
That Van Gaal team was so
Or
boring.
worst
I st-
team I've ever seen that.
You go, but the December before Van Gaal got sacked was. I still don't know how he got through that December, because I remember seeing that press conference when he walked out, and you kind
I
of
was
went,
in that press conference.
and you kind of went,
I was in that press conference, I'm the
Show
reporter,
off.
you know.
Show off.
and you just kind of go.
Martial's rubbish, by the way, Macca. Hey.
He did. You just kind of go, how did he get through that?
Yeah.
And even after that, you were like, it's still not great.
No.
We got the FA Cup, but still, it just wasn't good football. This is just.
Was that the
great.
season we
Unbelievable.
went 3 months one down where at the end I sit without a goal?
Yeah, it
We
was
didn't see a goal for 3
not
months from
scored.
like September to December or whatever it
Yeah,
was.
and this
which
is-
just ridiculous for United team.
Obviously, we're not sure how the season's going to end. There's still difficult games in both tournaments. There's the likes of Chelsea, City in the FA Cup. There's still Inter Milan left in the Europa League. We're not guaranteed a trophy at all. We're not even guaranteed top 4, like we keep saying, and I keep repeating this. We're 17 games unbeaten, and we're still 5th. And to me, whilst I'm so optimistic and I'm so happy with the way things are, and I think looking forward into future seasons, we've got a lot to look forward to, there is something deeply worrying about a 17-match unbeaten streak, and we aren't in the Champions League spots. I'm not scared,
However-
but I'm concerned about
About
that.
6 of those games aren't league games.
Yeah, but
I appreciate
Also,
that, but you know what I mean, don't
we
you?
were
We're on the best
20
form of the last decade,
we were
and we're still 5th.
24 points behind Leicester. We're now 1.
I know we are. I'm not saying that
was
I'm
in
not
December.
happy,
In
but there's
this-
part of me that still goes. Because as people always say, in a cliche as hell, form is temporary, but form is temporary, and we aren't going to just never lose again. And at some point, we might drop
We've
points.
got ourselves into a position though
What do you mean
where
we're
we're
never? Of
four.
course, we're never going to lose again.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we're 4 wins away from guaranteed top 4. Which, you know, if you go back to the Burnley defeat, no
Yeah.
one would have.
Oh,
No
Oh yeah,
one believed that.
I'm so happy with the current run of form, and like you said, we're looking excellent. But I
And
do.
you
There
look
is just
at
a slight ping
those
of
wins
a
as
pang.
well.
Sorry, of
have
doubt.
included like that runs include like a win away at Chelsea, which was a game changer. Beating City again. Do you know what I mean?
There's been some
big
great
games
results
in
in
that. Do you know what I mean?
Should we move on to the second goal then? Mason Greenwood keeps scoring. He's been the man of the moment, hasn't he? Since lockdown, it's been Bruno, it's been Pogba, it's been Mason, hasn't it? Going forward.
Goals, 3 assists.
It's just you
And,
can't see
and no one else.
no one else. Just those players you've mentioned.
Wow.
No, but in terms of goals, we'll talk about Martial in a minute because I do want to mention him because I thought he was excellent. But
Yeah.
Mason Greenwood again, right foot this time, edge of the box.
It's just like everyone said this is going to be a goal, and you kind of jokingly say it when he gets on. And he's on his so-called weaker foot, whatever that is for Mason Greenwood. It's unbelievable finish.
Yeah.
It's so good.
He had a shot before that,
Ridiculously
didn't he?
good.
Where we were all like, I can't believe he missed that.
I think
and he was 20
you
yards
said
out.
it. You said he had a relatively quiet game, but he got his goal.
Yeah.
And that's just what good players do, don't they? Yeah, I've heard that sort of criticism levelled at loads of players throughout the years. People used to say it about people like Andy Cole or something. He's had a quiet game, but he'd get a goal.
He's had a quiet career, but he's had 200 goals.
Do you know what I mean?
That was honestly, people used to say that all the time about Andy Cole.
We've got a super chat in from Harold. I'm not going to attempt your surname, I'm afraid, but Harold, thank you for the super chat. Fun fact: United top trio, the youngest trio in European football with 50+ goals in one season.
Of course they are.
Some says Ollie has.
He's 14 years old. He is
up to players. It has no tactics up to players.
No.
Wow.
And then the third goal, I don't want to go without mentioning the third goal because it's the first goal in over a year.
453 days, I think.
453 days.
But it's not Pogba's fault. It's not Pogba's fault.
That must mean he's been shit in that time, right?
Apart from being
that's
injured.
the only conclusion
he was
you can come
injured for
to.
9 months, wasn't he?
A global pandemic.
There was the pandemic.
Yeah.
Stop making excuses.
No, again,
I don't care if there's no football. You should still
injuries and
score.
global pandemic.
Hey, he's a waste
still
of money.
should be scoring.
Send him back to Juve.
But in all honesty,
Yeah.
he's been brilliant again since lockdown, since he's come back, and to the point where you can say it may be half joking, you can say it may be pushing our luck a little bit with the excitement of the game, but the fact that we can even remotely suggest that this is one of the best attacking lineups in Europe is a big part to play with Paul Pogba playing. Let's not forget a different role to the one he's been asked to play for the last 2 years at United in that deeper number 6 role. How good was he today?
Yeah, he was. Again, it's like when people go, Pogba didn't do a lot. He did.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like he can almost be an unsung hero in this team now because he's got the likes of Bruno, Mason Greenwood, Marcus Rashford, who I thought played well. I don't know he didn't get his goal, but I thought he was involved in quite a lot.
Yeah.
And Anthony Martial, of course. So he doesn't have to do it all now, Paul Pogba. He doesn't have to be the one that's sort of getting the goals. Like, remember that early spell we had under Ole when we just kept winning? And it was like Pogba was on free kicks, I was on penalties. He was everything.
You
know what I mean? He sang the theme tune, he did everything. And now it's like, obviously, with all these other players around him.
Thank you. Yeah.
He doesn't have to do that, and he's fitting into that role. It reminds me a lot of the way he was at Juventus when he wasn't the main star.
It's more how he was for more how he is for France.
Either.
Can't say he's got someone else ahead of him doing a little bit more. He's got Griezmann or whatever doing what Bruno was doing. He just doesn't have to be the star man.
Second best teenager playing alongside him.
Second best teenager.
Yeah,
Mbappe.
and a lovely goal today. A goal that reminded me of the goal that scored in the World Cup final. Not quite the same, but that kind of just nonchalant, 18 yards out,
passing it in the bottom corner.
No, it's a goal, is it?
Yeah.
Easy.
Although this was obviously more important.
This was obviously more important than the World Cup final.
Anyone can score.
Got another super chat from Nikhil. How much did that Pogba goal remind you of Scholes?
Yeah, not necessarily the finished Scholes had a different sort of a way of shooting than that, but just the way to cap off a great performance by just passing it in the net.
It's that Scholes trait of finding that space, seeing him to find a space.
It's the confidence of
the
two midfielders, one to be on the corner, just to pass to the edge of the box and just know we're going to. We've not been able to attempt that because we've not had two players good enough to pick out that pass and pick out that finish.
Yeah.
Opposition teams, a year ago, whatever, were just saying, focus on Paul Pogba, stop Paul Pogba, and you stop Manchester United. No, it's not the case.
And we can't go without mentioning an honourable mention for Marcus Rashford, who I thought his skill and his invention was excellent today. Looked really good. Should have had a couple more assists than he did. We saw Wan-Bissaka heading the ball, what looked like a nanometer wide of the near post. He should have done better.
It was a defender's
Marcus
header.
Rashford.
Vikram put a super chat in. Thank you, mate. What do you think of Rashford's creative role? Personally, I don't like it. He said. Okay. I love Rashford when he drives at his opponents. I thought he was good.
I thought he did a
great
bit
lot, and Luke Shaw seems to be getting more involved as well going forward.
Yeah.
He seems to have kicked it up a gear, which is good because he's sort of thriving off the service he's getting as well.
And before we go as well, Anthony Martial, I want to say, I would say for me, since the Chelsea game where he scored the excellent header, I think this was his best centre-forward performance. Holding the ball up. There's multiple times where he looked up, the ball was being played to him, he brought it down and played people in. He got an assist as well today. I'm not just saying this because Adam McCullough's giving me daggers off camera, but I thought Anthony Martial, as a striker's performance, was absolutely excellent.
That's the best performance he's had without scoring a goal for Manchester United.
Yeah, quite possibly. I thought it was really good. What do you think? Slag him off for a bit of variety. Slag him off.
Try.
Martial, more like Marshy, no. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? There's a fucking... Yeah.
Well,
if you want to have a go at it.
Well done, mate.
Changing his name back and fucking you.
Hey, seriously. No, I thought Martial's been outstanding, hasn't he, for months. Before lockdown, he was.
Yeah,
he nailed the centre-forward role. He's obviously loving it. He's loving the fact that Ole showed faith in him and binned off Lukaku and gave him that responsibility. And we've seen it, he's had his hat-trick, he's had goals, he's had assists, he's had the lot. He looked pissed off when he got took off.
Good.
And I want to see that. He wasn't kicking off and being a dick. He was just pissed off because he didn't get on the score sheet, which is great. You've got loads of attackers chomping at the bit to get goals. Love to see it.
Brilliant.
Final super chat from Matt. Best 2-foot player for us, Greenwood and Charlton. It's a big shout.
Well,
You've
I'm
got
not
a few
going
years,
to
mate.
pretend that I can name 2-footed players from the 50s or 40s.
No.
So
But
there might have been.
I know Cristiano Ronaldo scored a few goals with his left foot as well. I don't
Only
think he
a
was
couple.
quite as 2-footed as Mason Greenwood, but it was decent money. Right, that's going to be all from us tonight. We've got more reviews coming. We've got Adam McCall's review. We've got Fancams. We've got Stephen Alston's review. We've got so much coming on. Make sure you check all that out. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for joining us at home. United have won 3-0 again. It looks like we're making that big push for top 4. It's in our hands, isn't it?
Yep.
Mate,
See you in a bit.
best front five in Europe.